good to be back. We're here with Paige for the Rise and Go podcast. Paige, thank you for joining me here today. I'm really excited to chat with you, especially after our Wellness Wednesday extravaganza. Was that last week or a couple weeks ago?
It was last week, yeah.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, so tell everyone a little bit more about what we did for Wellness Wednesday and your role in that event.
Yeah, so it was kind of the first one here at Little Big, and it was basically a workout led by me. I'm a personal trainer at Lifetime. So it was basically anything I wanted to make it, and I kind of made it more of my strength training focus, but with body weight. It was a free event, so we had, people from all over, like some Little Big employees, some friends, some other trainers, yoga instructors, PTs. So it was a great mix of like fitnessy professionals and outside of that. But yeah, it was like a 45-minute workout, full body sweat, and then we had your merch after, networking. It was great.
Yeah, one of the things that was surprising to me, I spent a lot of time in the gym, I have my own workout routine, but I was like super sore like the next couple of days.
I know, you texted me and you're like, I don't remember what you said, but you're like, I'm feeling muscles I haven't felt before.
Yeah, I was sore in places I've never been sore before. And I think that's one of the interesting things and why I think people utilize personal training as a way to, one, get in shape, but, kind of get outside their comfort zone. And I will say, I never do workouts like that. So I was a little bit outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Some of the, the movements that we were doing, they're fairly difficult for me. So, having an event.
They're difficult in general.
Yeah, okay, good.
Like, they're humbling. I would have been struggling too. So.
Well, you were leading the workout, but, I think that's something that I found very unique about that is, it was a workout for everyone that challenged everyone. And I feel like that's something that you try to abide by in the way you go about your personal training. So while we're on the subject here, why don't you share with us a little bit more about your personal training journey and how you got to where you're at today?
Sure. So I've been at Lifetime for just over 5 years now, at the one in Fridley, if anyone knows Fridley.
Okay.
Northeast, kind of. But yeah, so I've been a trainer there for 5 years. Just recently am a training leader as well, or manager. So I do kind of a bit of both. But what got me into it, I was always passionate about working out. Always, I studied kinesiology at the University of Minnesota, so I always knew I was going to do something in that field. I thought for the longest time it was going to be strength conditioning coaching with professional athletes, which still, intrigues me, but I kind of was dialed in on that route. I had some internships with Go for Athletics, which I enjoyed, but also at the time I think the intensity of that with full-time school was just a lot and kind of turned me off. Some of the dynamics just kind of turned me off of that approach or that route. But then I started working at the rec center at the U, the gym, and became a certified trainer, started doing that part-time and realized I really loved it, just working with the average everyday population.
Sure.
And then COVID hit. So then that was kind of short-lived. I started my own small business with a couple clients that I retained during COVID. Would train people outside at Gold Medal Park, socially distanced. I just kind of did what I could. Did some outdoor classes. So I made the best of it. And then Lifetime was my first full-time job. And I did not think I would be there for as long as I have been.
Okay.
Totally thought I'd be there for a couple years max and then start my own business. And that's not out of the question, but I just realized, okay, this is actually a pretty good place to be. It's a great company. They're growing nonstop, So it's the grass isn't always greener, I feel like, what I've learned with just having your own thing, but I don't know, maybe one day.
Yeah, no, I feel like, especially with Lifetime, there's trainers at the different ones that I go to that have been there for years and years.
Yeah.
And I think, they have a great client base. I think that's a great start. Mm-hmm. And, I will never go anywhere else because I love Lifetime so much. But you had mentioned where you have, maybe some ambition down the line to start your own thing. But, again, I think that is a huge obstacle when you're going into starting your own business. We have a friend, Mason, that is doing the same thing right now. And I think there's a lot of people, especially in this, familiarity of working out, personal training, running your own business, where you can learn from what they're doing as well. And it's like, you're moving into a managerial role. That's amazing. You're in some way like climbing the career ladder within Lifetime. Mm-hmm. But I think that also is going to help you. If you eventually do go do your own thing, now you've managed people. You want to have people on a team as you go do that, because that's a lot to take on by yourself. I'll say
for sure. Yeah, I feel like I'm already learning. It just feels different. Being in that role of like training trainers, but I do really enjoy it so far. I find it rewarding, so I just felt like like you said, I needed more out of my role in a sense, and I knew that I find what I do very rewarding, but in order to kind of climb within Lifetime as a trainer, like you can only do so much hour wise before it like kind of burns you out. It's a very high energy in-person job, dynamic job. So yeah.
So let me ask you this. I've noticed like more and more Lifetime people are like getting some TV spots or doing a lot of like advertising. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you would have interest in doing? Have you been approached about it? I'm just curious for my own sake.
I'm a Leo, so yes. I think I would. Yeah, that's honestly a reason why I feel like I've stayed is like you said, you love Lifetime, you wouldn't leave. Like, it's a growing, popular brand. And they're always kind of like cutting edge, you know what I mean? So, I think I would be not opposed to it.
One of the things that I have noticed is like they do a lot of advertising. Like, how do I get Elevon on all those screens and advertise my brand? I just, being a former employee of Lifetime, I should really know better, but
we can work on this.
Yes,
honestly.
I was saying, you give me the hookup, and then we'll all get it all figured out. But I know like there are corporate locations over in Chanhassen. It's like like, just go over there, work out, and run into talk to somebody. You didn't know you were here.
Yeah.
But outside of that, let's go back to your background. I find this fascinating that you're from Winnipeg. Did you say? So tell us about like your journey to coming to America. Like how did that all happen?
My dad's job at the time brought us here. He now runs his own business, so totally different from, why we came here in the first place. But I just moved when I was 5, 6.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother was just born, so the 4 of us, and all my immediate family lives here, obviously, in Minnesota, and then my extended family is mainly Winnipeg, some in Calgary, Nova Scotia. It's kind of all over.
Do you travel back there a lot?
Every summer to go to Winnipeg, I have a family cabin up there.
Okay, you don't go in the winter?
If I can. Like when I was younger and I wasn't working full time, we'd go for Christmas, but I haven't been for Christmas since like college.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I've known you for some time, but I was like, I don't know your story behind it. Like, being from Canada, coming to, the United States. Like, I didn't know if it was recent or if you've been here for a long time.
No, it's been a while. Feels like, but like I definitely still have like my family there and our cabin, which I love going to, so it's still part of my life,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I always find it fascinating. Like people come from all these different backgrounds, and they have these different journeys. And I was just curious about that. But let's go back to like the personal training side. So when you work with your clients, like walk me through like what is like the first consultation like? Like how do you formulate plans to put them on the right track, and like how do you ensure success with your clients?
Right.
It's a loaded question.
That's a good question. No, I feel like, I don't know, when I meet people, like I'm all about, and I've found this out, like learn this the hard way. I feel like finding a routine that is sustainable for people and not all or nothing. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people come in like gung-ho, super excited about joining the gym, or if they haven't before, and do 5 days a week, and it's like, let's like peel it back a little bit, like be honest with yourself, you know what I mean? Don't start too hot, because that's going to lead to like burnout and you not coming back after like a month, So sustainability is a word I use a lot. Consistency, and not perfection, something, again, as a recovering perfectionist, I constantly am talking to myself, like saying to myself, because that's been kind of a game changer for my mindset about just staying in the game with fitness and not getting burnt out. But I feel like I'm already going sideways. But with clients, repeat what you said about.
Yeah, so like how do you like put together a game plan for them? Like what is like one of the things that you hear a lot from your clients? Like I would assume it's like they want to lose weight. But like what are some other like, areas where clients come in looking for your advice and your help?
Weight loss, I mean, well, that's a big one, obviously. Gaining muscle, losing body fat, so body recomposition, which is, I always say, like my bread and butter. Like that's my passion. I love watching people get stronger, build muscle, tone up, so I feel confident in helping people with that. And yeah, I think just like gaining confidence, building confidence in how they feel in their clothes and their body, feeling like they can do something like this, for the rest of their lives. And that's that's the approach I try to take, is like, I want this to be something that is sustainable long term, that you really enjoy.
I feel like that's always a struggle too. When you say like, clients come in, they see the success stories at the gym. They think people are like, oh, they gotta do this 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You have to have these, high intensity interval training, or like you have to do like 5 days of strength training. And like you said, like that's what causes burnout, because people, I feel, come into it with the right intentions, but they want to see immediate results.
Oh yeah.
And so
immediate instant gratification.
Yeah, and I swear it's like the lifetime effect of like New Year's, where everyone like makes the New Year's resolution. They want to come in, they want to lose weight, and then like they don't see results after 3 weeks. They're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't working.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like how do you keep your clients on that, the straight and narrow, if you will? Like, how do you keep them on track even when they may not be seeing results?
Again, good question. I feel like I always say start with like focusing on like the little wins and like getting stronger over time. Like that's what makes me excited. Like seeing my weights go up, or like my reps, or like things feel better. Like I feel things where I'm supposed to. Like you feel your glutes for the first time ever and not your low back. Yeah. Like that's a huge win for me, because so many people actually come to me and they're like, I've never been able to feel my glutes. And I'm like, I bet it's a form tweak or like some sort of like execution thing that we can figure out, or like release work, or something's, overtaking your glutes when it shouldn't be, you know what I mean? So I like solving those little puzzles, and seeing that light bulb kind of go off with people. But yeah, I mean, it's not like a sexy approach, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be long term, and it's kind of a grind, and it's not instant gratification, but it's just consistency, and those small wins, I feel like that add up over time.
100%.
So.
And I feel like that's another important educational tool you can give to your clients, is like, we're not just doing this so you can lose 20 pounds and then put it back again. Like I'm trying to create a plan that you can use for the remainder of your life. And it's like, I think about my own experience. Like if I don't go to the gym someday, like I go insane. And I think it's just it's the athlete in me. It's the motivation to constantly be in there. And I myself, of like losing weight, is like I don't want to go back to that person, because I feel like falling off the train is something that can very easily happen for a lot of people. And so with these like workout plans, getting them started, do you put together like meal plans? Do you work with them on that? Is that part of your kind of your responsibility with them?
In a sense, yes and no. I'm not a certified nutrition coach, and I don't dive too deep into the nutrition piece, just because I haven't, gotten into that myself yet. Yeah. But I mean, I have the bodybuilding background, the macronutrient tracking. Like I know what I'm speaking on when it comes to like tracking food. I still to this day loosely track my own food. So I get the concept of it. I know how it works. So, I mean, I think I always bring it up. I wouldn't say I give meal plans. I don't know if I necessarily believe in meal plans. Yeah. I like more like flexible dieting. I feel like that works better for most people.
Let's talk about that. Talk about flexible dieting. What does that mean to you?
Everything in moderation, and just not restriction, and being able to have balance and like living your life. Because I know what it feels like to be restricted and not have choice in the matter, and it's shitty. It's not something that you can sustain long term. I mean, it'll lead you to, your best body, the most ripped version of yourself, but like you're kind of miserable, like I don't want people to ever feel that way long term, and they shouldn't have to like feel like their most confident selves.
Right. It's funny that you say that too, because I've heard that a lot, where it's like, restrictive diet, you do a lot of fasting, you're doing things that look good like in photos, but like in the background, it's like maybe you're sleeping like crap. You're not getting the nutrients.
You're like a shell.
Exactly. And like it's something that I somewhat experienced too, because like when I started my weight loss journey, I was only focused on like a number on the scale. I wanted to get down to like 190 pounds. And when I finally got there, I was like, I hate this so much.
I was gonna say, did it feel the way you thought it would feel, or was it like less?
I'll say this: when I stepped on the scale and saw the number, it was very gratifying, very exciting. But I was like, I can't sustain it.
You can't sustain it, yeah. Like it's there for a second, and then you're like,
it sounds like good. I knew I could get here, but
right.
you know, it's something where it was like, this isn't sustainable. But I like where I'm at, and it's like. Now it's like I try to keep myself between about 200 and about 250 pounds. Like that is my sweet spot right there. And so it's like I have a wide enough range to where it's like, yeah, if I want to go, go on a vacation and eat whatever I want to, I'll come back. If I just go right back into my routine, I'll be right where I need to be.
Right.
And I think that is like I don't want to say the end-all be-all solution, but I feel like that's the mindset that is really hard to like put into clients that are trying to go on this journey as well, because they're so focused on one thing. They want to see those results, and they realize like, okay, like getting those results is one thing, but maintaining that is a whole nother ballgame.
Right, and that's why I'm not a big fan of like, I don't know, sometimes the challenges that Lifetime puts on, I think I will say they've gotten better about making them more about habits and like long-term success. But sometimes these big like weight loss challenges.
If you want to hate on Lifetime, feel free.
I might just a little bit. Like when I started, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to buy into this, you know? Because it's not the workouts and like all the habits like all at once. It's like it's like doing like a 75 hard or whatever for like 90 days. I'm like, I would not do this.
Right.
This is terrible. So I don't know. It's gotten a lot better. But yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, I will say most clients I'm usually pleasantly surprised that when they come to me, their goal has nothing to do with like a number. They're like, I don't really care about that. I just want to like feel better, be healthy, be able to keep up with my grandkids, or like I'm in this for longevity. So I don't know. I love that, that it's not always tied to like the number on the scale, because I don't think it should be.
Well, you mentioned this earlier that you have a bodybuilding background. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I did. Not going to say one and done yet, but I did do a competition in 2022, that July. The Twin Cities Open at Mystic Lake out in, is that Burnsville?
I think so.
Mystic Lake Event Center. Yeah. So it was a big show. It was an NPC show, which just means it wasn't natural. Technically, I'm natural, but...
I was saying, HGH or something?
No, it's not tested, so who knows who I was competing against. Yeah. But... with my category, I'm guessing it wasn't. It's not a huge, like, it's not about mass per se, but there's some big dudes on that show.
Some deep voices as well.
Oh, for sure, yeah. You're not gonna get around that if you go to Los. So yeah, that's a side note. I do usually train at Los Campeones in Northeast. I've been to a handful of other locations, but that's a nice kind of separation for me outside of Lifetime. But yeah, I did that competition. I hired a coach randomly. I mean, I kind of judged bodybuilding before I got into it. Thought, oh, it's never something I would do. Kind of turned my nose at it. But then some girl at Los came up to me one night and was like, you should get connected to my coach. Like, you'd be great bodybuilding. And I was kind of like, who, me? Like, really? So I got connected with her over Instagram. We had a little consultation. Immediately, we just clicked. She's awesome, and I started working with her.
Well, give her a shout out.
Yeah, Alicia K. I don't know how to say her last name still to this day because it's Polish and I can't. It's like, I don't know, Alicia. But she's one of my, like, she'll always be such a big part of my life. So I haven't worked with her directly in a handful of months now, but she's helped me, honestly, without getting mushy, like, become the coach I am today.
Sure.
I take so much, or give her so much credit. So.
Well, that's amazing that you have, those people that have helped you along the journey. I feel like that's so important as well.
Huge, yeah.
And so, like, I want to go back to, like, she said that you'd be great at this. Like, what was the motivation behind it to, really, attack that, like, head on?
Right. Oh, the motivation behind kind of just, I mean, it intrigued me because... not that I'm like I need to be in the spotlight, but I kind of like missed the competitive edge in me being like an athlete in high school and throughout my whole life. I didn't really do anything in college besides work out. Aesthetically, you know, I was just kind of like, I want to see what I can look like. You know what I mean? When I'm like at my leanest and I hire someone and they tell me what to do. Because I was happy with where I was at. I mean, it was post-COVID, post a lot of things. So I don't think I felt my best. But I was just doing what I knew how to do. Yeah. And I was like, I just want a different perspective. And I'm going to need help if I'm going to do this. And the way it transformed me, I mean, physically, but just like my confidence. Like it was huge. Yeah. Like I couldn't imagine it any other way. Like I wouldn't be who I am without that kind of phase in my life.
Well, let's keep going on that. So I know that, you know, here on the podcast we talk a lot about people's stories and, you know, where they come from and like what is like the rise and go in you. And I know we've talked about this a little bit. I want to thank you for actually coming on here and being comfortable sharing this. But, you know, let's talk about your rise and go story. And so I'm going to give you the floor to kind of share your journey.
Sure. But yeah, so the post-COVID, and then I said post a lot of things, the biggest thing I went through during COVID was I went through cancer treatment for Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 2, which if you don't know cancers, I mean, I didn't know what Hodgkin's was when I got diagnosed initially, but it's a lymph node cancer, like blood cancer in the same family as like leukemia and I think breast cancer too. Don't quote me on that. But it, super scary, super out of nowhere, but also very treatable. And the one that I was diagnosed with, thankfully, was probably one of the most treated, like, you know, high success rate cancers you could be diagnosed with. So yeah, that was a big crazy start to COVID. Like literally kind of happened when the shutdown happened. So my life just did a complete 180. I was graduating virtually, luckily enough. So like that was kind of working. That was on my side. I didn't have to like worry about going into class while going through treatments. But it was a just bizarre time because I mean, I was going through chemo and then I was immune compromised and there was this like virus going around and I didn't know if I got it, if I would, you know, like make it, honestly. So like my family and I had to be super careful. My brother moved into the garage actually, so he could continue to work and, you know, see his friends and stuff and keep his life somewhat normal, you know. But yeah, I moved home and went through 6 months of chemotherapy every 2 weeks and just kind of blew through it, honestly. And then I was in remission within like 6 months. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, during that time too, there's so many unknowns with COVID. And then, you know, this other, you know, bear of a cancer diagnosis. I wanted to ask you, like, so how did you, like, discover it? Was it something that, like, you're like, something fell off? Was it, like, you had a lump or something? Like, tell me more about, like, how you, like, actually, like, found out.
Sure. I feel like it started, and again, no idea. Who knows when it started, right? Like, that's kind of the scary part about cancer is you just don't know. But I got the flu November 2019 when we were in Mexico as a family. And I remember, like, just having all the normal flu-like symptoms. And sometimes that lingers for a while. The cough that I did have never really went away. And this was, like, we're talking into, like, February. It was just, like, pretty chesty, rough. I just got used to dealing with it. But my dad kept kind of getting on me about getting it checked out. He's like, that's not normal. You know, like, I'd work out and have to, like, hack after. Like, I'd laugh and have, like, a coughing fit. So it wasn't normal, but I just was like, you know, like, you just feel like you're
young,
like,
strong.
Like, I felt pretty good. Otherwise, like, nothing was, like, blaringly off about how I felt. So, yeah, I went in to an ENT. They gave me a nasal spray. I was like, maybe it's allergies, maybe it's, you know, I don't know. That didn't really help. And I just remember, honestly, waking up one day right before the shutdown, and I had a swollen lymph node, like, right in my collarbone. That was, like half a golf ball, like, wedged by my neck. And it was hard, and it was big, and I was like, what the hell? Like, it was crazy. And my parents were out of town. I was, I think, living at home at the time or something like that. But I took myself to urgent care, and just waiting there, again, not super worried, just thinking maybe it's just like a viral response to whatever I have going on in here. And the doctor kind of came in and he was just like, said something like, he's an older guy, really good bedside manner, but he was like, I don't think I've ever seen a lymph node that big. He's like, we should get you in for a head and neck and chest, or neck and chest CT scan. So then I'm getting a little worried.
I was saying alarm bells have
yeah.
off a little bit.
But I really don't think I thought cancer until they told me. You know, I was just being, I don't know, delusionally optimistic.
Yeah.
So I did the whole scan. I'm still waiting in the room, and then he comes in. I don't remember how he said it, but he was pretty, like, I could tell he was visibly upset. It was hard for him telling me that news. And I think I blacked out when he told me, because I didn't know what Hodgkin's lymphoma meant, and then he said cancer, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die. You know, like, that's where your brain goes. And the hardest part, honestly, was having to call my parents, because my dad was on a business trip in Vancouver. My mom went with him for fun. And I had to call them and tell them I probably had cancer and I'm at the urgent care.
Yeah.
And it was brutal, but I will never forget, and I always say this, my dad, you know, he's such a strong guy, and clearly he's shaken up by this, and he's like, oh my God, like, that's like the worst news. You're gonna, like, you don't want to ever hear that, your kid telling you that they have cancer. But he said something like, kiddo, like, in life, things are going to knock you down. Like, you're going to go through things and it's going to knock you down. But he's like, but you got to get up every time. Like, you're going to get up, you're going to get through this. Like, you got this. And I don't know, that conversation just really stuck with me. And that was, like, honestly what set the tone for, like, that whole journey was just like, yeah, I got this, you know? And then the doctor was like, this is one of the most, of all the cancers you could have gotten, this is like the most treatable.
You should have led
This
with
is
that,
the one.
Right?
Yeah, right. I know. So that, like, those things really helped me. Obviously, I'm scared and, like, don't even know what to think. But I just ultimately, like, I had this sense of hope from, like, the get-go that, like, I'm going to figure this out, you know? So I feel
that's
blessed.
a competitive nature in you.
Well, right. I'm like, you don't have a choice.
Right.
Like, so it is crazy when you kind of go into, like, fight or flight and you have to fight, like, how resilient your mind is.
Well, your dad is a godsend for giving you that advice. Because, again, I feel like...
It's like a Herb Brooks speech.
It is. But, like, it just makes me think of, like, the Rise and Go motto. And, like, just how, like, when I heard your story, I'm like, that's it right there, you know? And it's hard when life kicks you down. You know, I've been knocked down, I've knocked myself down, I've made the worst mistakes ever, but it's like you keep coming back, you know what I mean? And I love that story behind it. And so I want to go into, all right, so you've been diagnosed, you know, you're going into chemo. What was that process like? I've heard many different stories of, you know, I don't know, I would never say it's easy, but you know, what was that experience like for you?
It was a lot of unknowns at first, pretty scary. I mean, hospitals were shut down, right? So I couldn't go to chemos or treatments with anyone. I had to be dropped off, which was probably the scariest part in the beginning.
Because now you're going through it alone.
Yeah, and I didn't get to have my parents there or a visitor till, like, the last 3, I think. So, yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part was, like, officially getting diagnosed, even though I knew I probably had it. But just that official diagnosis was like, all right, like, we're in it, you know. But then the process of, like, from that, like, biopsy to, like, getting my regimen going, meeting with my oncologist and being told, like, you're gonna lose your hair. That was probably one of the hardest parts, and I bawled my eyes out that day. But so cut my hair. Fun fact, never lost all my hair. And to this day, according to my doctor, who I see, like, annually, I'm still the only patient under that regimen that didn't lose all her hair.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, Mom, because I have, like, thick hair, and I swear it's because I just had a lot of hair to begin with. But, yeah, so that was tough. But, yeah, that first treatment, like, walking into the cancer center by myself, them kind of telling you, remember, like, we don't know how your body's going to respond to this, so you might have an allergic reaction. And I'm thinking, like, do I just die on the spot from, like, all these drugs? I mean, because I had to get a port put in, so that was where everything was, like, what do you call it, put through me versus, like, you know, through my arm. It was just scary. But then once I kind of got through that first one, I'm like, Like, it felt weird. It knocked me out. I was exhausted. But over those 2 weeks, it was kind of nice in that, like, you'd be knocked out that weekend if I had it on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of slowly build back up. So by the time you get to that next one, you feel just about full strength.
So, like,
Gotta do it again.
when you're going through that, like, is there, like, sickness, nausea? Like, what are, like, some of the side effects that you felt, like, kind of, you know, knocked you on your ass, if you will?
Right. There can be. I mean, I was worried about that. I never once got nauseous. I mean, I was constipated.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
Sure.
I felt like my mouth tasted like chemicals 24/7. It gives you like a yellowy kind of tint to your skin. Like I called it the chemo glow because I'd walk out and I'd look like an olive skin. I was like, this is great. Yeah. So I mean, and I felt like I got hit by like a truck like that whole weekend. I remember, you know, and then like I said, you kind of like slowly build back up your energy. But one thing that really helped me, I don't know, just stay true to me and feeling like I'm beating this is I continued to like work out and lift weights through that entire process.
What a great distraction.
Right. My parents have a pretty great home gym in their basement. And so I was lifting weights, doing all the things I did in college, like throughout, because I was bound and determined to be like, you know, if I'm beating this and cancer is leaving my body, like if I'm getting stronger, then surely I'm beating this, you know? So I didn't let myself get weaker.
That's amazing. Well, yeah. I feel like that's one of the keys to like work. Like, yes, workouts are hard. Like, you don't want to do them every day, but it's like if you can get through, you know, the hardest moments of your life and you can remain active, it's like for me, it keeps me sane, to be honest with you.
Right, and that's exactly, it kept me sane, because it's like, until that first PET scan of knowing, like, or I got the PET scan to diagnose where the cancer was, which, you know, scary, but then you get a PET scan midway through to see if it's working, and that's terrifying, you know, like, I thought it was, but you're never sure.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, until you get that PET scan, I didn't know. I mean, I was hopeful. I felt like I was getting better. This went down, you know, like my cough was going away, like all this stuff. But that's what kind of kept me sane. And in it was like, okay, like I'm not feeling worse.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
Kudos to you, because I know it's like, you know, when life knocks you down, it's either you can sit there or, like your dad said, like, get on up and let's go again. But so like how many chemo treatments did you have? Like what like how long was the whole process?
It was like 6 months worth. I think I started beginning of April, and I finished, my last one was end of August, I want to say. So it was like 6 months or about. Okay. Yeah, and 12 treatments.
12 treatments.
Every 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow. So now you've been diagnosed, you've gone through the whole treatment. Like when you got that last like chemo treatment, did you know it was your last one?
I did, yeah. Okay. Like it was a special day. My mom came with me. Yeah, and I specifically, I have a tattoo on my leg, a hummingbird. It's like a tribal hummingbird. And I got that because, this is my little story, my ode to angels. But I was like sitting in that treatment room and waiting to start the chemo and the last treatment. So I'm excited. And I hear a tap on the glass, literally look out the window, and there's like a hummingbird just like hovering. And there wasn't really like flowers or anything around. It was just so random, but like so beautiful, because I was like, that to me was a sign. Like I was like, I'm going to be okay. Like I did it, and that's my little ode to like, you did it, you're going to be okay.
That's like one of those little moments in life where it's like you stop to look around and like, what is it, like smell the flowers or whatever, and it's like, you know, it may not mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but it means the world to you. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, like, they need to find those little moments to, like, kind of have a sense of sanity or, like, you know, bring them back into reality, something like that.
Right.
But, you know, no, that's amazing. So, all right, you've done your last chemo treatment. Like, what was, like, the next year of your life?
That, honestly, maybe was, in a sense, kind of the hardest part. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't talk about what it's like to come out of being like a cancer survivor. Like you're on the other side of it, and you're relieved, obviously. And like I thought I might have to do radiation. I didn't have to. And then I had my final PET scan. I was in the clear. So like technically you're cancer free, but then it's like damn, but like there's still a chance it could come back.
Yeah.
And like the chances exponentially go down over a course of like 5 years. Like 5 years. I actually just celebrated my 5-year anniversary this past October.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So I just remember thinking like, God, I can't wait till like 5 years from now and how I'm going to feel, you know? Because it's still, yeah, like coming out of it and like, I don't know, it's like that fight or flight. Like your nervous system is like so heightened through that entire process without even realizing it, and then you're just like freaking exhausted. You know, and like you want to go enjoy your life and do all the things, but you're also like, you've got this cancer history, your diagnosis like looming over you, you know? So I went through phases of just every ache, pain, every feeling that I had that was off. I thought my brain immediately went to like, oh, you have like bone cancer because your knee hurts, or like, you know what I mean? Like it just. And I remember a nurse telling me, I can't remember what treatment it was, but that stuck with me. She's like, one day you're going to look back and this is going to be but like a distant memory. Yeah. And I'm like, really? Like, I don't know. And I can see that now. Like, it seems like it didn't even happen. But coming out of it, you got to give yourself grace and allow yourself time to just, I don't know, just feel normal life out again. Yeah. It's scary, you know?
Well, it's like you put all of this focus, you put all of this energy into like beating this one thing, and then it's over, and it's like, well,
you're like, now what? And COVID, it was weird because, like, of course, if COVID wasn't a thing, I would have wanted to like go do all the things. Right. But I kind of still couldn't because I was still coming off of like being immunocompromised and living at home. It was kind of a blessing, honestly, in disguise, because I was at home. Just quiet life, doing stuff with my parents, kind of like doing my training outside. But then I realized, okay, I gotta like get an actual job. And that's when I applied to Lifetime. And I started that following February.
Okay. So one of the things I wanted to jump to next here is like, what advice would you give to somebody that is maybe going through a similar situation like that? Like, what are like the life lessons that you took out of that experience?
Oh gosh, yeah, big question. I mean, I think attitude is everything, you know, and like mindset, and just, I don't know, like I've never been like really like a meditator or like a visualizer, but like I would literally visualize. I did everything in my power outside of those treatments to keep my head in like a positive space. Like I would envision like butterflies, like it sounds cheesy, but like coming out of like my chest and my lymph nodes, like, you know what I mean? Versus like, it just, to me, I was like, it just helped me stay in the light during such a dark, kind of isolating time. So I think mindset is huge. And just, I don't know, like not giving up, you know, like just finding those moments, those signs, those slivers of hope, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there's always something. Finding your people too. I mean, I feel like when you go through something like that, you kind of find out who your real friends are. And I had a couple of those moments, and your family. So like I would have never been able to get through it without like those people in my corner showing up for me.
There you go. It's that easy. All right. Yeah. So we've gotten through that.
Yeah.
Great job. Unbelievable. So to wrap up here, I want to go through like a little like Q&A with you on like, you know, what are like your favorite workouts? So like, for, like when we did the Wellness Wednesday, like, I felt like I got my ass kicked in that. But like I always say like I stick to like compound lifts. I do a lot of like bench press, like lateral raises, things like that. But like, what do you think are like the top 5 exercises?
Oh, so hard. I was always a big compound lifts girl before I kind of got into bodybuilding, and then I kind of changed my tune with like isolation things. So what are my top?
Yeah, top
just
5. For
anyone or for me?
Wait, is Mount Rushmore like 4? That's 4, right? I'm not a history.
Don't ask me about history or.
I think it's like your top 4. So it's like,
okay. Let's go 4.
Yeah, let's go 4.
5's a lot. Just for overall, like if I'm like trying to create a program for you, or like my favorite.
Your own.
My favorite.
Yes.
Oh, it has to be something with hamstrings. I just love training hamstrings. I don't know if that's weird.
I think I've learned that.
Glutes and hamstrings, big fan. So like a hamstring curl. I love either lying hamstring curls or seated. That's just a basic one, like almost anyone can do. Just to feel their hamstrings activate. You don't have to know how to deadlift. You know what I mean?
My hamstrings activate when I have a cramp. That's what mine activate.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people are very quad focused, or like I've never been. I feel like I'm more hamstring dominant, quad dominant, just from daily activities, life, sports. I don't know. So I feel like building up people's like posterior chain, like that's rewarding to me. So, gosh, like, you know, a basic glute bridge or like a hip thrust variation. I feel like that's, you know, a very essential movement for a lot of people, and it can be regressed to progressed in many ways. So it doesn't have to be like barbell hip thrust if you're a dude. You know what I mean? So those, I love shoulders. I love lateral raises.
They're one of my favorites.
They're like one of my
if you don't
favorites.
say one thing that I like.
No, I love lateral raises. All the different variations. Cables, freeways, lying down, I don't know, machine, like, I just love.
Well, my favorite thing about those is like it gets like my traps and it gets my shoulders on. And like I've noticed like how much more rounded my shoulders have become.
I was gonna say, if you don't do lateral raises but you want like calf delts, like you're missing the point. You gotta do something in that range of motion. So
one of my favorites.
Yes, me too. Also, another muscle that I never got into training before I met my coach was rear delts. So like back of the shoulders, just learning how to train them properly and actually isolate them was like light bulb moment for me, and actually it changed my life.
I think I need one of those light bulb moments, because like I do like a lot of like seated cable rows, and I think it's going to help, and it's like I just feel it like in my back.
I was gonna say that might be more mid back lats to actually isolate the rear delts, like rear delt fly, cable, cross cable, rear delt flies.
See, I think that's,
there's so many.
I've
cool
seen
variations.
people like on pec decks that like go like they sit with their chest.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I need to start doing that because I just do pec decks.
Yeah.
It's like my back, and my shoulders aren't as like defined as I want.
Well, right, and when I started doing just side tangent, but like progress photos with my coach, I'll never forget the first photo. Like I was like, that's what I look like from the back, just like the roundedness though. And I thought I had this great posture, but having pop and rear delts like really helps with that.
Absolutely.
So
nice. So is there anything you want to say to the audience or anything before we wrap here?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel very grateful to be here and just kind of share my story. You know, it's powerful. I feel like connecting with people and just like rehashing, you know, like your journey. I don't know. And there's like everyone's got their own unique story. So, but I don't know, I'm kind of blanking.
No, you're good. I can't thank you enough for coming on here and sharing your story and being open about these things. You know, I've always said with this podcast, like, I don't care if it reaches 1 million people or one, but as long as it helps somebody along the way, like, that's my only goal. And, you know, I think in this world, everyone faces challenges. Some are bigger than others, but, you know, I think your story is a great example of what it means to rise and go. And I can't thank you enough for being on the show with us here today.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And then where can our viewers find you on social media? Yes.
So it was my business Instagram, but now just my main account. It's Paige Olivia. I should know this. Paige Olivia _CA. That's my Instagram. And then Lifetime Fridley, obviously, on that website. Not super social media crazy, but I do post.
Yeah. And then if anyone was like interested in, you know, taking you on as a personal trainer, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yes, I would say Instagram, honestly, DM me, or else if you go on to the Lifetime site, search, like, get to Lifetime Fridley. I have a bio page with my picture. You can sign up for an intro training session.
Awesome. So, well, thank you. This was so much fun.
Yes, thank you. This was great.